Okay, you can barely see me, but I'm here, and this is Clinton Road. Clinton Road is quite, it's considered to be the most haunted road in New Jersey. So we're just going to drive down and we'll see if anything happens. Probably not, but I'll tell you some great stories about this place as we go. So, as you can see right now, we're in a bit of a residential area of the road. It gets much more rural, much more, a bit, you know, just nothing is there. There's potholes everywhere. So it's just the kind of road that you would imagine to be haunted. So I'm actually we're moving into it a little more. It's a 35-mile-per-hour road in West Milford, New Jersey. And teenagers have been known to go a lot faster than that because, well, for obvious reasons, they get scared, they might be drunk, they might be high. So we're going to be very cautious while we go down this road, make sure that we don't get hit by any teenagers, because they are the biggest danger on Clinton Road, hands down. Now people do, as I said, they live on the edges of the road. You'll see a couple, I'm actually passing a house right now, but there's some that they kind of live clustered in the edges of the ends of the road. And the middle part, which is the vast majority of the road, no one is there. Nothing is there. And there's a dog. Okay, so a person was living there, they had their dog. Sometimes, now that's a normal dog. That's not the kind of dog that you normally expect to see on Clinton Road. This road is reputed to have a lot of animals, okay, so to preface this, West Milford had an animal park in the 1970s called Jungle Habitat. It was open for maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 years at most, and it had basically, it was basically a drive-through safari park, had a couple of little, exhibits that you could walk to, but most of it was drive-through, and it was shut down in, I think, 76, I think, or 77. It didn't last very long, and that is, oh wow, there goes somebody going very quickly. I hope that was not a teenager. Here's a bridge. And so people think that animals from Jungle Habitat still roam this area because the park closed very suddenly and without warning, and so the theory was that they left some of the animals. In reality, they were actually transferred around the country. They were brought to all these different parks. I think Great Adventure actually may have gotten some of them, but they, this is actually, now some of these turns are very tight. The one I just went around, I think this is actually the Deadman's Curve area. Deadman's Curve is where the most car accidents happen on Clinton Road, so you have to be very careful. It's right at the beginning of everything. So anyhow, Jungle Habitat, people think that a lot of the animals crossbred and they got mutated, and it's kind of a strange thing to think about, really, because it's very unlikely. But they think that these animals roam the woods in West Milford to this day. They probably don't. Again, if you see something weird, you were probably seeing a coyote or a bear, although there have been reports of things like kangaroos and whatnot. Now, I'm going along the Wanacue Reservoir, not the Wanacue Reservoir, this is the Clinton Reservoir here on my right. Now, I'm going around Deadman's Curve right now. Deadman's Curve is legendary for all the car accidents that occur around here. My phone's coming down, whatever. You can't see me anyway. I'm just going to stop recording on there. And basically, I think the most famous car accident here was in 1988, supposedly. A teenage girl was driving a blue Camaro and got into an accident on this road, and she died. And one of the things that teenagers nowadays like to do is they come to the road and they talk about her on the road. And supposedly, maybe these are some teenagers right now, they're going kind of slow. Actually, no, they had a boat. Okay, that person had a boat. But anyway, talking about this girl is supposed, in her car accident, is supposed to trigger a manifestation of the ghost of her car. Or even her making sure you don't die in an accident on Deadman's Curve. So that's one of the more famous stories here. I've actually seen a lot of people tonight. This is kind of interesting. Because normally it's pretty desolate. So that's probably the most, probably one of the most famous car ones. There's also a young boy, a ghost of a young boy. He lives under a bridge. There's a few bridges on this road. The one that people most likely are pretty sure it's that bridge is the one by Deadman's Curve, which I crossed earlier. And the boy who is under the bridge will give you money back if you throw him money or leave him money on the dividing line in the middle of the road. At midnight, he'll supposedly give it back to you. Now, I'm driving here it's only 9:13 right now at night as I drive here, so obviously he's not going to be around right now, but there have reportedly been sightings and experiences of him. Some people have had change thrown back at their car, hitting their windows. Some people have had the change actually thrown at them when they were out of the car. So there's all sorts of stories about that kid. Legend has it he was hit by a car while he was on that bridge, probably fishing or something or other, and he died there, unfortunately. And as a result, his ghost is actually now also, he's there, he will protect you. So if you're in the middle of the road, he'll protect you. He'll push you out of the way to make sure you don't get hit by a car. So he's actually he's a benevolent spirit. He's a nice kid. Just very concerned about other people's safety. And he's totally cool with giving you your money back. So there's that. Okay, now here's a 15-mile-per-hour curve coming up. We gotta take this very slowly. This road is very winding, very dark, desolate. You can't really, here's another bridge. And see, there's a very tight curve right here. Very tight, easy for teenagers to get into accidents here. Oh, I just saw I think it was a coyote. I think I just saw a coyote. I'm gonna have to check my tape later. There are, of course, a lot of wild animals here. This is a forest. Bears, coyotes, fox, you know, all sorts of deer, obviously, but deer are everywhere these days. So you'll just see them. People, though, of course, will see it out of the corner of their eye. They'll just be like, oh, it's a mutant dog thing from jungle habitat, and it's coming to kill you. It's not like that. It's much more likely the coyote just wants to kill your chicken. If you have a chicken. So yeah, I do not have a chicken. I know cheetah, and I know foxy, but I don't think anything's going on there because they're robots. Unless something is going on, please, if there is something going on, please do not tell me. I really don't want to know or think about it. Yeah. It's just one of those things you don't want to think about at all. Really. Robots. Yeah, no. Robots don't even have genitalia. Well, some do, but let's not get into robots with genitalia. That's like another creepy conversation for another day. Here's another bridge, crossing now. And I think another thing that's worth mentioning on this road, now occasionally you'll see like these little hiking trails that go off. There's a couple of things here. There is an old foundry, and oh, I thought I saw a deer and it was a rock. Okay, I was just trying to be careful. So there was an old foundry here, an ironworks foundry. Well, not really an ironworks, just a foundry. And for some reason, people have decided it is, because it's kind of triangular shaped, they've decided that it's a druidic temple and that druids worship here and they perform human sacrifice. That's obviously, again, not the case. That doesn't happen here. Druids, as far as I know, did not leave Europe and come to the United States. And if there are practicing druids around here, I'm very sorry if I've insulted your religion. But I know for a fact you guys don't actually do human sacrifice these days. There's also Cross Castle. Cross Castle was a 3-story mansion built out here by a man, Richard Cross. He lived in the area. His wife and his 3 kids, they had this house. And it was there for a long time, but it fell into disrepair when the family moved out. And so Cross Castle actually became a sort of meeting place for people. Usually kids who wanted to go get stoned or drunk would go to the ruins of Cross Castle. The building was more or less dismantled, just, you know, for safety purposes in the late 80s. But you can still see the ruins. Part of the chimney and foundation are still there. It's maybe a mile or so off the road. You hike to it. But of course there's theories that satanic rituals happen there, or witches worship there. There are stories of people going hiking out there and people in their party having seizures. There's a story about 2 park rangers who died on the job in the 1930s who guided people away from there to make sure that they were okay. There's all sorts of weird stories pertaining to Cross Castle. Now, it's just it's a shame because it was a really cool building, so it's actually a shame that Cross Castle is gone, because I would love to really, you know, go see what the building looks like, but unfortunately it's in shambles. There's really no building to look at anymore, which is a crying shame, really. Let's see, how many other stories? Okay, yeah, I know which one I missed. Okay, so there's a ghost truck. Now, this ghost truck will supposedly manifest behind you while you're driving down this road. I don't know if it's at midnight specifically, or if it just happens at any point. But this ghost truck will manifest behind you. They'll drive up really close, get their headlights right up in your bumper, drive really close to you, and basically chase you down the road. And they will pursue you until you get to the end of the road and actually turn off and get off Clinton Road. So supposedly this truck, I don't really know the story of the truck. I don't know if it has a backstory, or if there's anything else to it. But I do know that it is apparently very relentless. It loves to get right up close to you and make you fear for yourself and your life and your family and all that. Very, very determined ghost, if it exists, although I'm not seeing it, which is a little disappointing. I was kind of hoping I'd at least get someone behind me so I could pretend it was there, but nobody's coming! Ruining my fun. I should have had someone drive, like, behind me and then just cue them to come up. That would have been funny. But the truck, yeah, that's a thing that locals are known to do, especially when you've got some scared teenagers in the car and they're driving along and they're just, you know, they're like, oh, there's gonna be ghosts, and then some local sees this car, teenagers go by, gets in their truck and messes with them. And I mean, really, if I lived around here, I mean, I know that would be tempting, because that's kind of funny. Just following them along and just, moth. Lots of moths. Those are not orbs, by the way. I know they're going to probably come up on here looking like orbs. They were moths. I can confirm I saw them as moths. So that's the truck. Oh, one more story I completely forgot. Okay, so here is a real life story about Clinton Road that is absolutely horrible. So one day a cyclist was going along Clinton Road, is sometime in the 80s, and he looks over, he's riding along, cycling down the road, and he looks over and he sees a turkey vulture. And the turkey vulture is eating a human body. So he looks, this is a dead man, there's a corpse here. So he's looking at this corpse and obviously calls investigators, they look at the body. Turns out that this was a victim of a mafia hitman. And so they're actually, this actually was one of the murders that led to his eventual capture. The Iceman was captured partially because one of his victims was found here on Clinton Road being eaten by a vulture, by a cyclist. Because during the day, this road is actually pretty isolated. I mean, even during the day, this road is very desolate, very isolated. So it is a good place to dump a body. If you're, you know, looking to dump a body. There's a house. It looks like we're starting to come to the end of things here. Oh, and there's some skid marks. Somebody messed up here. Let's be careful. So during the day, yeah, it's a good place to ride your bike because you don't have to worry about cars. Of course, though, the downside is you never know when you're going to find a dead body on this road. There have always been rumors of people dumping bodies here because it's very rural, very abandoned, easy place to hide the body. And so, naturally, when a body was actually found, people flipped. Because, well, it was real. Oh, look, a truck. There's our ghost truck. Not really. It's actually more like a pickup truck, but there you go. Okay, we saw a truck on Clinton Road. Yay! Okay. Yeah, so school bus, and so, you know, even now we're starting to get back into where people live. There's a sign for a school bus. Here's a turnoff road. Look over drive, so you can see we're actually coming to the end of the road here. So that's Clinton Road. It's pretty neat, actually. Pretty desolate, pretty interesting, I think. Got some cool stories back there. Oh, that stop sign was not for me. Whoops. Yeah, it's just a very, it's one of those things about New Jersey where you just, everyone's just like, oh, it's New Jersey, so it's gonna be haunted. Yeah, everything in New Jersey is haunted. So if you live here, you're pretty much used to it by this point. It's just, that's how New Jersey is. Literally everything in the state is haunted. You don't have to really, you know, get all worked up about it. If you live here, you're just so used to everything being haunted that ghosts, at this point, you're just kind of like, whatever, it's a ghost. Whereas people from out of state are very fascinated by all of our weird things. Oh, I've got someone finally behind me. I'm so excited. Maybe it's the truck. Okay, but I'm crossing some water here. Pretty water, yeah. There's a lot of lakes around here. It's really neat, actually, to see all of these lakes in this area. So it's very, it's actually very pretty area during the day. During, you know, when you can actually see everything, very pretty. Lots of woods. You might see some animals, which is, you know, if you're lucky, you might actually get some animals. That shady side road. I should mention that there is another road in New Jersey that is reportedly haunted. It is called Shades of Death Road. I do not live immediately near it, but I'll sometime pop over. So that is Clinton Road. We are going to turn off now and head on back to civilization. Thank you for joining me. Have a nice day, and just be careful.